related to the center of leadership, character. We're talking about character. And this time we will be talking about a very interesting and important issue that we need to highlight on, is that what is it going to cost us if we don't lead with character? Before I start asking you questions, let's tell the audience that we have an awesome tool that we will be sharing with you at the end of this show, or this discussion, or this Table Topic Wednesdays. And thanks again to Dr. McKinsey, who took the time to put all this together. And he's going to talk about it more at the end of this talk. So let's dive deep. Let's dive into the topic right now. And I will always go first with Atala. Atala, you saw the topic. We're talking about the cost of people who will neglect leading with character. What would you say about this one?
Wow, I think that is a very interesting topic, but also very crucial to discuss, because there are so many side effects. When we're not leading with character, obviously we're going to be making poor decisions. And those poor decisions are going to be affecting not just our staff, clients, business partners, services, you name it. Profits, everything, right? So we need to be very careful about how we're leading. If we're not leading with character, it is only one of them. But think about also something. It will create inner conflicts. And those inner conflicts, when you are not follow your leadership with back up with values, it could lead you to stress, to a lot of guilty, right? To making, again, poor decisions, to affecting your well-being, your energy levels, your productivity, again, solving problems, because you are not in alignment, right, with those values. So that's very crucial. Think about it. If I hiding something as a leader, if I'm not really back up with my values, like be honest, integrity, be really present when there is a problem, not hiding myself or sending somebody, that's going to be that's going to create a lot of conflicts, inner conflicts and external conflicts. But also, again, I always talking about well-being, because when you are moving guilty, you feel guilty about something that you did, that's also affecting your energy to create or to solve problems. And also that energy is going to be affecting your staff members, your clients as well. So there is a lot of things that we can talk about. This is only a few of them. But also I think that it can even go deeper, like burnout, right? We always hear about companies and leaders. I feel stressed out, I'm burned out. So this is also something that I do believe it is created because lack of character in leaders. I can go on and on, but maybe I would like to also, yes, I just think that sometimes if we are not carefully value, every single day evaluating how I'm leading with the mind, with the heart, I'm leading with integrity, I'm leading with purpose. Why leading? Because I want a benefit, personal benefit. We see many times companies, personal benefit, ego, right? Also power, for example, control as well. All those things want to take away character from any person, from any leader in business and life.
Yeah, I know that we can go on and on talking about the things that can happen, but we need to make it clear for the people what is the cost. You already said enough, all right? Because they need to know, and for the fact that you're saying that we can go on and on and on, it means that the cost is expensive. It's going to cost them a lot.
Absolutely. We think about it, it's not going to be just people, it's going to be also, like a burnout, lack of teamwork, difficulty to find solutions as well, to provide the best care, the best service, profit, right? It can lead to loss as well. But loss of integrity was first of all, loss of really trusting you as a leader, right? And that will create also conflict in the teams and your staff. So there are so many side effects that we can talk about it. These are just few of them.
Let's save them. Like this is gonna be a 1 or 2 or 3 years content for us to talk about like in every Wednesday. What would you say, Dr. McKinsey? Where's your cup?
Oh,
It's here.
I might have to hop there to run and get it real quick because I don't have it here with me right at my desk. I forgot to bring my cup with me today. But here's the thing, Tyler, you really hit those really, I think those really hard points, and I hope that those that are here in the cafe today and are listening, hope you all heard what she said. The cost. She started it off with those powerful costs with the trust, and that's probably the number one thing. Is when you don't lead with character, you disintegrate the trust that anyone will have, and that's your personal life or your business life. So you got to understand what that can cost. Trust is probably one of the most foundational pieces of any relationship that you'll have. People have to know that they can trust you. And when it comes to being a leader, when it comes to your business, your brand, those that you serve, people want to be able to trust you. That'll be the first thing that will get people to run away from you, is if they can't, if they feel as if they cannot trust you. So understand the cost of losing trust as a leader. And when you don't lead with character, you actually leave yourself susceptible to actually to losing trust. Here's one that I'm gonna add, and I think both of you will agree with, where when you don't lead with trust, you can create a toxic culture or toxic environment
Yes.
to be able to be formed, because people don't, I mean, and I hate to use this example but it's in the news today. I mean, it's been in the news for the last 3 weeks, and that Sean Diddy Combs is on trial. He's on trial because he did not weigh the cost of not leading with character, and not leading with that cost has cost him now. It may cost him his life, because he may spend the rest of his life in prison because of that very thing, and him not thinking on the lines of, hey, I've got to be able to, I've got to have people to trust me. I don't want to create this toxic environment. Some of the testimony that they've been talking about, I'm like, man, I don't know how anybody would want to be in that kind of environment, that toxic environment. And when you don't have character as a part of the environment, it leaves those that are in that environment that may not want to do well, or may not want to have a healthy work environment. It leaves the environment susceptible, because when you lead with character, then you let people know, hey, this is an environment that is not going to be acceptable of just any old thing goes on. There's a certain standard that we're going to live by, that we're going to abide by here as an organization, as a business, as a culture. And the most important thing in an environment, I don't know about you all, but I've been in unhealthy work environments. And it's not something that's pleasant at all. You don't want to be in an unhealthy work environment. And I think some of it had to do with people not leading with character, as a consequence. But there were other factors, I think, too. But the bottom line was, I think that it has to do with character. When you lead with character, you create a healthy work environment. So I'll add that right now. I know we got more.
I am still agree with you. Yes, definitely, because also it will damage your reputation internally and externally. And if we think about it, I'm talking about always leaders, but not only just in corporations, associations, big organizations. I always also go to the basics, like a family. How many times also young leaders, I'm not I'm losing their self, it will say even self-respect or self-love because they don't have a good leader at home. So that's very important also because they are the leaders of tomorrow. We're shaping lives and character as well. And those leaders are going to be in top organizations. And if they don't have the right values, the character developed, they will also make the same mistakes because I have seen that happen.
Awesome. I loved what you shared, guys, and it's great to use recent example and live examples from the news that is going on because people need to see the cost. I mean how there are influencers, somebody who's leading, generations, is losing it because they are not leading with character. So thank you so much for this example, Dr. McKenzie, and for your input, Atala, that this thing is related again to the, what do we call it? The well-being, the well-being, and something that we are suffering from on a global scale. The work environment that you mentioned, Dr. McKenzie. People are leaving people. I know you might have heard this term before, but there are so many people who don't digest the meaning of saying that people leave people. They don't leave their jobs. They leave people. Why do you? Why?
What?
Go ahead.
Can I tell you this? And I had a supervisor, and this was years ago. He said that very thing to us. He said people don't leave jobs; they leave managers. And he was trying to get us to understand that it's not about necessarily the job that they do. They can tolerate the job even if they don't necessarily like the job. But when you throw on top of a job that someone doesn't necessarily like, you throw on top of that a characterless manager, a characterless organization, it makes that environment so toxic and not what people not want to be able to be a part of it. Like I said, I was a part of an environment. I literally hated to wake up to go into work. That's how bad it was. And I was to the point.
Terrible. That's terrible.
I was like, I've got to get out of here because that is not healthy for me. I said, so we've got to understand how toxic environments can be when you have characterless, people that are leading those organizations. I had another company I was working for. I literally had a district manager tell me that I would not become a general manager as long as she was there.
Wow.
How do you? Yeah. Tell me where's the character in that. Tell me that doesn't that automatically threw up the trust because I knew. I mean she was upfront about it, but I knew that I could not trust her to be able to see in me my abilities and skill sets that I had, and even the toxic environment that created by her being that way. So this being characterless is real, y'all. We want y'all to understand that as leaders, it is vitally important that you understand what it's costing you if you're not leading with character.
And also something nice, for example, in big organizations, even hospitals too, when you promise something and you don't deliver what you promise, you lost trust automatically. People will start looking for opportunities in other places because they don't feel appreciated, they don't feel valued, they don't feel seen. And that's very important because sometimes you can lose people that are very, very, with a lot of talents, that they have really the purpose, the passion to serve, to care. But if you are not careful, if you don't really kind of evaluate how are you leader, what is your leadership skills really? Are you leading with character? Are you leading just because somebody gave you that position, right? And that's just feel good about it. So it's a lot of things. It's a lot of also ethics, right? It's about your purpose. What is your real purpose behind? This is very, you can see easily in many organizations, institutions, big hospitals as well. So sometimes It's just about, you don't have to, try to look for something and don't really see that what is the real cause of this. It's not just the staff. The staff are sometimes working so hard, the frontliners. It's the leaders sometimes when they need to really, really go back and say, how I am leading these people. I'm leading people, so I'm leading lives, right?
Yeah.
That's important too.
Awesome. So the main thing, I mean, we are all agreeing on a huge cost, and that's trust, which leads to people leaving people. I mean, this alone can be the ultimate cost for today's talk. Of course, there are a lot, and as we can see that everything is connected. I mean, well-being is connected to the people who are being affected by leaders who don't lead by character, but lead by authority, or lead by position, or lead by, I know, favoritism. Favoritism is another thing that we are suffering from, and I'm sure we're going to be discussing this thing further. But they are all connected. If we want to live a life, like if we want to love people and have them love us back and build a trust, we have to lead with character.
I think sometimes we ignore the fact that we need to train ourselves. We need to also grow as a human beings, right? Because we're leading people. We need to understand what are their thoughts, their emotions, their feelings, right? Because you are always, doing so many activities when you are in a leadership position. You are talking to people. You are always sending emails. You are always on the phone. You are always in meetings. But what is the energy that you are transmitting to those people? That's very important. And your energy is also based in how I am leading. I'm leading with values. That's what I was telling about guilty. You feel guilty. You feel like, stressed out. You feel burnt out. You're not going to be leading. In a very positive way, creating a positive environment, or just actually creating a team where people feel that they can support each other, that they can actually communicate and add value into their you could say meetings or business or whatever it is. It depends also how you position it when you are leading someone. Your energy is very important because we transmit everything. So
yeah, you're right. And I wanted then to ask you something, since you, Coach Atala, you've been doing this for years, guiding people and telling people how to take care of their well-being. What do you what's the advice? What's the advice that you give someone who comes to you needing help, yet they don't know it, like they don't know what they want, and you want to tell them that leading with character is the solution, but you need to tell them this up to their level of awareness? What is the advice? How would you guide them?
Can I tell you the truth? I go back to the values. When you're leading with values, when you're leading with, with gratitude, being really grateful for the little things that your staff does, for the big things, you're gonna make them feel really, really valuable. But also your energy is gonna go higher, because we're talking about energy, right? So when you're practicing gratitude, love, actually compassion to themselves, or to yourself, kindness, right? A nice gesture always has a huge impact in people's lives. When you're leading also with that, even forgiveness, because how many times a staff member can make a mistake and you continue over and over pointing to that person and make them feel inferior or her inferior, right? So those values change the perspective, but also your energy, and actually strengthen your immune system. That's what I love the most too. Energy higher, productivity again, clarity, you feel better. So that energy is really, positive energy. People want to be with positive people. So when you start applying these values at a conscious level, you're going to feel the difference. People will listen to you naturally, and people will feel like they can actually, speak out with not fear, with not feeling like intimidated or controlling or making mistakes because they cannot feel that they are part of the team. That makes sense? Values to me has made a huge difference and has allowed me to really connect with people at a natural level easier and actually feel like they can add value to my life. Not only I add value to their lives. Absolutely no.
Now you mentioned positivity. I assume that you mean a different level of positivity, because I am one of the people who is, to be honest, I used to tell people you have to be positive, but in my point of view, and now we're having a discussion. I'm not against anything, right? But in my point of view, and we can talk about this if you want. I believe that the world needs more faith, not positivity. What would you say on that?
I would say both, because positivity comes from resilience, not just for being positive. No. There is a misunderstanding here. Positive,
That's what I
mean when you
want to hear.
Yes, positive for me is like when you're moving in values, your energy changes, so you become a more positive person. Your frequency, the impact that you have with your words, that has a huge impact in people's lives. I will tell you an example. When I used to work in the hospital, sometimes I was in a meeting with doctors from different kind of specialties, family members and the patients. So it was sometimes even 15 people in the room. So think about everybody so stressed out, right? You have to be a leader also in those moments, because they're going to be bad news. Sometimes, everybody starts talking at the same time. You have to regulate many things, especially information and emotions too. When you are moving in those values, your voice is going to be calmer. Your energy level is going to be also more, welcoming. And you're going to be able to transmit the message, right? From authenticity. So that's very important. That's the positive energy that I'm talking. That comes from different,
This is what I wanted. Yeah, this is what I wanted to hear, because we need to clarify this point to people, because so many people are misusing the term positivity. So many people are using the buzzword of positivity, but they don't understand. That's why I was asking you about this, and I know that you've been dealing with so many clients for the past years, referring them to the values. So that's what I wanted to clarify.
Yes, totally.
And that's why I
observation that you just made, because it is so true.
This is why I highlighted on this topic. Yes.
Yes. No.
Dr. McKinsey. Dr. McKinsey. Now. Yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Here's just to attach, in addition to what Atala was saying about values. When you don't have values or a value system, you can damage or erode your reputation, because you don't have the values attached to what it is that you do. I know with me, I have what's called a PVS and a BVS. That's my personal value system and my brand value system. Those are my PVS are seven principles that seven principles that I operate my life by, and then I have for my brand value system there's 10. The first 7 are the same, but the last 3 are still specifically with the brand, and here they are. It's wisdom, vision, uniqueness, commitment, consistency, excellence, accountability. Those are the first 7. The last 3 are enlighten, empower, and impact. That has to do with the brand. So everything that I do has that value system attached to it. So if I make a decision or if I'm looking to do something, I have to look at that my value system and say, hey, is this in alignment or is it out of alignment with what I believe, what I say I believe in? And if I continue to not be within those value systems that I say I'm operating in, then people won't trust me. Then I will have a toxic environment that I'm in, or a chaotic environment that I operate in. So it's costing you. Understand this conversation that we're having today about what not leading with character is costing you or can cost you. So when you're getting ready to make that decision, that next decision that you're making, if you don't have a value system, as Tyler was saying, you won't care about what it will cost you. You don't mind losing a client. You don't mind losing a customer because of that. Think of the businesses that are out here today that operate with a value system. One that comes to mind to me, Tyler, and I know you have it down there too, is Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A has a value system that they attach to their customer service and the way that they operate their business. Marriott Hotel is another one that I worked for. They instill that in you from day one, the values that they operate with. So it's imperative that we as leaders and as entrepreneurs and as organizations, that you have a value system. If you don't have a value system, yeah, you must. Part of your homework today, before you finish your day today, is to create a value system for you, your business, and your brand.
It's so true what you just said, Dr. Mackenzie, because it makes your work and life easier. Not because you're not going to have troubles, not because you're not going to face obstacles, but that makes your life easier, definitely. And making decisions from your values is just like a roadmap.
I promise you, most of the businesses that have had issues, I promise you, that have to deal with, if they had a value set, and I was thinking about this because I knew we were going to have this conversation today. Can you imagine the number of businesses that would not have had problems or issues if they had a value system, operated within a value system, and the decisions that they made based on that?
Let me sneak into this conversation or this information that you're pouring, and I want you to continue, Dr. Mackenzie, but I want to highlight on something. This is not only related to businesses. This is related to countries. This is related to individuals, right? We need to understand that those who are listening, you can establish your own values. Just dive deep inside you and check out what are the values. I mean, we have tools that can help you to craft your own or not craft. I mean, dig deep inside you and just let them out, the values, and live by these values, because these affects your decision making in life. People are struggling and going left and right looking for happiness and success. Your happiness and success are related to your inner system, and your inner system requires to have values and requires to have things that you believe in, and you can build your decision making and everything on it. So I just wanted to mention that. So Dr. Mackenzie, I want you to just share whatever you have left in your information, and then I want you to drop the bomb of what you've prepared, because we need to honor people's time. And I mean, because also we shared a lot. I mean we shared a lot. This alone, we don't want people to get overwhelmed with the information. We shared a lot. We gave a lot of nuggets that have been dropped by you guys. I mean, that's awesome. And of course, that is promising people that our next Table Talk Wednesdays are going to be heavier. So take note. The mic is yours, Dr. Mackenzie.
No, I just think that hopefully what we've talked about today in this short period of time, that people understand what it's costing you or what it can cost you when you don't lead with character. It can cost you, it may give you a short-term win operating with a, with character, without character. But I promise you, in the long run, in the long term, you'll wind up losing. And here's the last thing, and then Talia, I'll toss it to you, is your legacy. What do you want your legacy to be when you don't lead with character? What do you want people, when it's all said and done, or when people talk about, when you're not in the room, what do you want people to say about you, your business, and your brand when it comes to the character of your brand? Are they describing it as something that is, wow, I know that they operate with integrity, as Tyler said. They operate with with wisdom. They're gonna make wise decisions. They aren't making decisions that are just all willy-nilly or anything like that. What do you want your legacy of your leadership to be? That's the question that I hope you'll come away with and be able to answer. If you can't answer it right now, think about it. Think of how important, what it's costing you not to lead with character. Not only, like we said, in your professional life, with your business, but also in your personal life as well. Think about your family. Think about those that you hang around with. Think about all of those things that encompass you leading with character. So that's what I'll add to it.
Awesome, awesome. Atala, one last word.
I would just say that if you really want to lead with character, you need to look into your values. As we mentioned before, you don't have a list, you don't have a guide. Please start working on that, because that's gonna make your life easier in your life. Your business and in your life. And also something very important. You will lead with poor moral if you don't lead with character.
Right. Dr. McKinsey, your bomb.
Yeah. Well, as we mentioned at the beginning, we had something, and coming in, and I was thinking about how we can add value to those that come into the cafe. We want you to not just come in and be a part of the conversation. We want you to be able to leave with something that you can actually apply to your leadership, your skill set, your leadership as a whole. Is something that you can make your hopefully help your business and your brand run better. And we knew that this conversation was going to be a little heavy today. And we wanted you to be able to take away something that will be able to help you to be able to fine tune those values that you may or may not have, and be able to try to do a checkup. We're in the 6 month. We're 6 months in now, so it's time to do those checkups. It's time. You take your car in. You take your car in for the. You got to check the oil. You got to check the brake fluid and all those things. Well, here's part of the checkup. I'm gonna call it your character checkup. Here's how you can check your character, have a checkup character. And so I created a PDF, and we'll put it into the group. So you got to go to the Character-Driven Leadership group on Facebook, and we'll put it in the documents section. I believe there's this document section in there, and they can go and they can download it there. And it's just it's a quick, easy checklist that you can, a guide that you can go through. And it asks you, we talk about the things that we talked about this morning, or this afternoon, the loss of trust, the toxic culture that you might be encountering or might be creating, the reputation that you could be losing or costing yourself, short-term and long-term, short-term wins and long-term losses, and then the legacy. So you can go in and I have these questions that you have to ask yourself, and it'll show you at the end. You should come away with whether or not you are operating with character. Are you, your business and your brand, operating with character? So it's kind of a 6 month checkup, 6 month character checkup, lead with checkup. So you can check that out.
Character unit.
Yes. Yep. We may have some
character unit.
We may have some ICU patients we may have some ICU patients for us.
You never know. And we have Dr. Atala. We have Dr. Atala, not Coach Atala. Dr. Atala, because her background is.
Exactly.
Thank you for the new title then.
Listen, I'm going to tell you something. We see so many people with the credential of doctor, DR before their name, And
I totally agree with you. Yes, definitely.
When we were honored with this credential, I spoke about something that I believe in, and I said that for you to earn this credential, it's not a title. It's about two words. And since today we're talking about two values, there are two things, two of like 5 things that I talked about are really important. D stands for discipline, and R stands for responsibility. You have to be disciplined to dig deep inside of you and, challenge yourself and be disciplined and apply everything on yourself, and then take the responsibility of sharing that message, because people are watching you. You are leading somebody whether you know it or not. So this is the credential of doctor. Not everyone that has it look at it from this perspective. They look at it from a title perspective, and this is what we call the short win, as Dr. McKenzie mentioned. With that being said, thank you so much for everything that you poured in. As I told you, like this talk today is heavy. There are a lot of things to look at, to reflect on. We have a tool in place, and also we have to say that Coach Dr. Atala prepared a questionnaire that is related to the well-being, that is also going to be included in the 5 section in the Character-Driven Leadership Facebook group. As Dr. McKenzie said also, we want you to be a part of this community, not as a number. We want you to be here to benefit and take things for yourself. Enjoy the taste of this cafe, build your character and lead from it, because that's the ultimate purpose and the ultimate vision of the Character-Driven Leadership movement. So that's it. This is all that we wanted to share with you. We hope that this was insightful, this was rich, and we promise that next talks are going to get much and much more interesting. So we want you to start sharing and invite the people and tag the people who need to hear this, because we're just getting started. We're talking about the center of leadership, and that is another ocean. It's an ocean inside an ocean. So we're going to talk about so many things. No place for buzzwords, only true leadership. With that being said, see you next week in the Table Talk Wednesdays, and God bless you all.
Thanks, everybody.
Take care.
And don't forget. Oh, I'll mention this before we go. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel. This will be on the YouTube channel. We'll put the link inside here. We'll put it in the comment section so that you can go see some of the other conversations that we have in addition to this one in the cafe. If you missed it.
Thank you for the recovery.